his granddaughter was murdered. Detectives say his daughter did it. It was all too much for one man to take. Tonight, George Anthony on the brink. Channel 9 learned what was in the suicide note he was going to leave behind.
George Anthony has been gone since 8:30 this morning, and he has taken several bottles of medication from his house.
We broke this story this morning on WFTV.com.
And late this afternoon, Channel 9 obtained the 911 call made from the Anthony home. And their attorney talked to Channel 9 about George Anthony's condition tonight. Channel 9 reporters are covering every new development in this case, from the Daytona Beach Hospital, where George is being treated, to the Anthony home. Let's start with Channel 9's Kathy Bellich. And Kathy, George's wife, Cindy, could be seeing him soon.
Yes, she is expected to be leaving the house any time now with her attorney, hoping to see George sometime tonight at the Daytona Beach Hospital. After they leave the house, they've asked us to back off, give them some privacy, and we will do that. Now, she got a real scare here yesterday when she realized George had disappeared with his sleeping pills, blood pressure medication, and a photo of Cindy and Casey, but nothing else.
We're worried that she's done something to himself.
Cindy Anthony and her attorney were worried because just moments earlier, George had texted some disturbing messages to her and their friends from his cell phone. Messages like he did not want to live anymore and that he wanted to be with Kaylee. George also texted that he wanted to be left alone and wanted to make sure Kaylee was in God's arms. He would not tell them where he was, but through cell phone data, Orange County Sheriff's investigators tracked him to Daytona Beach, and police there found his car at the Hawaii Motel on Ridgewood Avenue. They found him in his room, melancholy and despondent, but he agreed to go with them to Halifax Medical Center, where he's undergoing psychological evaluation. George had missed several meetings yesterday and canceled a visit with a friend in Lakeland. Cindy called him, but he didn't answer. She called their friends, but they hadn't heard from him either. Cindy told investigators that George has been upset and depressed over Kaylee's death, and she believes his depression deepened the day before when she had asked him to choose jewelry for Kaylee for her funeral. And we're told that George's son Lee tried to call George on his cell phone early this morning after George had been picked up by Daytona Beach police, but George did not take that call. Apparently someone just opened the front door at the Anthony's house, and as I said, we're waiting for the Anthony family attorney to show up any time now and take Cindy to Halifax Medical Center, where she's hoping to see George. Reporting live at the Anthony home in East Orange County, Kathy Bellich, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
In the suicide note George Anthony wrote, he said he wanted to be in heaven, holding hands with Kaylee and with God. Channel 9's Mary Wynn was given exclusive insight into that letter, and she continues our team coverage now from the Orange County Courthouse. Mary?
Well, Brad Conway just left here from a newser. He said that George Anthony was recovering tonight. Now, sources tell me they were surprised that Casey Anthony's name was only mentioned a couple of times in the letter. George said he was disappointed with his life, and that's why he wanted to end it. George Anthony seemed alert as he was escorted into the Daytona Beach police chief's car after officers found him in a motel room along with a 6 to 8 page suicide note. The Anthony spokesperson, Brad Conway, said the stress and grief had pushed his client to try to commit suicide.
George has been pushed to the brink of what might have been another tragedy in this case.
Sources say in the letter, George mentioned that he wanted to go to heaven. He only mentioned Casey Anthony a few times and said that she was a strong, determined person. He focused the letter mainly on Kaylee, Cindy, Lee, and Lee's girlfriend Mallory. He told Cindy he was a failure as a husband and a father. He went on to say Lee was a great son and he was proud of the man he had become. There were no clues into Kaylee's death. Conway says he doesn't believe the recent revelation that a heart sticker that was put over Kaylee's mouth had anything to do with George's recent cry for help. He believes George has been suffering throughout this ordeal.
If you ask George how he's doing, he will always tell you he's okay. He's not okay. He's been through something that has affected his life, his wife's life, his daughter's life, and his granddaughter is gone.
People close to George Anthony say he's been dealing with depression even before Kaylee's death. We'll explain more coming up at 6. Reporting live in Orange County, Mary Wynn, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Between dealing with his granddaughter's death, his daughter's arrest, and protesters outside his house, George Anthony has been under a lot of stress over the past few months. He's often been very kind, but he's also had some outbursts.
You are destroying my family, all of you. I wish you'd get the hell out of here.
That was George Anthony yelling at protesters and the media back in September. We've also seen him throwing lawn chairs belonging to gawkers on his front lawn.
George Anthony has been Baker Acted. Police, doctors, and mental health professionals are allowed to hold someone in a hospital against their will for up to 72 hours if they think the person is at risk of committing suicide or hurting another person. George is now in a Daytona Beach hospital, and that's where Channel 9's Jason Allen continues our live team coverage now. Jason?
Yeah, he is being watched, and he can have visitors. In fact, I want to update you. We just got some information that his wife, Cindy, is now headed here to see him. She, obviously, and other visitors have to be approved by doctors here at the hospital in order to visit George, but we understand that's going to happen. Obviously, doctors here determined that he did need to be in the hospital, but I can tell you, people who talked to him last night, both at the hotel, including police officers, told me he seemed almost at ease.
George Anthony went with police to the hospital in pants and a collared shirt, alive and well, in much better condition than Police Chief Mike Chitwood said he expected.
I don't think there was any doubt in my mind that he was dead, that he had killed himself.
But if Anthony really meant to kill himself, he didn't leave many clues. Hotel owners told us Anthony checked in and said he was just tired of driving for the night. He asked about getting a pizza, paid $35, and went to his room.
He seemed very friendly and asked about the weather as well, I think, and then he wanted to know where the pizza place was, and that was it. I think he said he was going to go back home today.
He let police in the door with no argument. They found no weapon, a couple of beer bottles and empty pill bottles, but no sign he had taken any pills. Anthony asked police to leave, but because of a letter in the room and text messages sent to family members, the police chief said he knew Anthony needed to go to the hospital.
And when you look at the totality of the circumstances, the best thing for all of us to do was to get him the help that he needed. And obviously, I think the fact that he's been admitted says there's some kind of a problem there that needs to be addressed.
And right now, it's going to be up to doctors if they do let him go anytime soon, although sources inside the hospital told me it's very unlikely that would happen before tomorrow at the earliest. For now, reporting live in Daytona Beach, Jason Allen, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Jose Baez got a call from the Anthony family attorney, Brad Conway, last night that George Anthony was missing, and Baez visited Casey Anthony at the jail for a little less than an hour this morning, and he told us she's holding up the best she can. The jail staff had already told her about her father's disappearance. Baez says it's proof that this case is having a major impact on the entire family.
People can comment about him on blogs and things like that, but they forget exactly that these are people, and that, you can say I would act this way and I would act that way, but you really don't know until you're in that position.
Casey is still in protective custody at the jail. There's been no change in her status. She is free to visit with the jail chaplain or with counselors if she wishes.